How's everybody doing today? Huh? How is my indigenous brothers and sisters? Eh? But anyways, I just want to say a few words. Try not to speak too much. But for 4 days ago, 3 days ago, in a hospital in Winnipeg, a baby was abducted, apprehended by the system, A girl, 18 years old. I don't know if that's her first baby, but no explanation, no papers, just gone, Auntie was there, tried to film, but staff said you can't film, But she wanted to go live, but Wi-Fi wasn't too good, so she just filmed, that sounds like the 60s scoop, That's the sound of the 60s scoop echoing. Yeah? Different year, same pain, Our grandmothers back then didn't have cameras, when their babies was taken, There were no witnesses, just a nun's word against the mother's tears, And the mother always lost, that? So, that needs to stop, It ends now. Because today we have cameras, at our disposal, easy access to any cameras, yeah? So let me tell you what the law actually says. I'm not talking about the hospital policies, not the nurse's opinion, but the law, For when you're scared, when your baby's on the line, when your auntie is told to put that away, the first truth. Canada is a one-party consent. Criminal code says you can film. You can record any conversations you're a part of. You don't need permission. You don't need their permission. If you're in that room and they're talking about you or talking to you, then press record, That's legal. That's your right, actually. You know that? That blonde lady saying she can't film, That's not law. That's discomfort, I guess, She didn't like it and she said, you can't film. She doesn't know laws. She doesn't know. She won't understand unless we teach her, In the hospital, they're not above the law, They have privacy policies that protect patients, that protect other patients. That's understandable, That's fair. But don't film. I mean, if there's somebody in the next bed, somebody you don't know, don't film. Make sure they're not visible, or don't post a nurse's face if you're just gonna shame her, you know. But your conversations with staff about your baby, you know, about your granddaughter in your room, you know, you can film, you can record audio for sure. Just be sure that there's no other patients visible, you know. If they say it's illegal, ask them what law, you know. Ask them what law it is, then watch them stay quiet, you know. Watch them get quiet, because there isn't one, you know. They can't show you. And the child being apprehended is not a secret, you know. When CAS or Tikanagan or the hospital, you know, when they take your baby, they have to have something on paper, you know. They must tell you why, you know. No explanation is not legal. No explanation is how our babies disappeared for 100 years, right? You know, you record so there is an explanation, you know. So a judge sees it later. So your lawyer will have words to say, you know. And they also can't take your phone, you know. If they take your phone, that's theft. You know, they take your phone, they destroy of evidence. That if they touch your phone, that's a crime, and you can charge them. Okay, you know that. You know, you can be asked to leave. You can be trespassed. You know, but your phone is your property. Your video is your witness. They can't take that away from you. You know, in order to be trespassed or asked to leave is when you commit a crime. They need a reasonable reason for them to trespass you. You know, they can't just trespass you because you're filming, you know. That's not how it works. You know, our people have heard this voice before in a residential school. You know, don't tell, you know, don't ask, don't record. Always the same message, you know. Be scared, you know. Be quiet. Trust us. But the truth is, you know, we buried too many babies because we trusted, you know. We lost too many moms because we stayed quiet, you know. You know, that girl, the one that got the baby taken away, Helen is only 18 years old. She's just a kid. She was probably terrified, scared, you know, tired, alone. And the first thing the system did was take her baby. That's sad. That's disturbing, you know. They take her baby and her voice. That's not protection. That's reputation, you know. So it's hard, you know. It's sad, you know. Auntie couldn't go live, because there was no Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi was down. But you know what? The video still exists, you know. It was posted. We're watching it. And I'm talking about it. So that means the camera already won. Right? Because now thousands of aunties know Helen's story, know Helen's name. Now 1,000 of us know what that hospital did. Now thousands of young moms are learning about that hospital, and what they did, before they even go there. I don't think they'll even want to go there now. That's how we break the cycle, not by anger, but with knowledge, So just remember this for you, for your sister, for your daughter. If you're scared, record, even audio, even if you don't want to video record, there's audio record too on your devices, eh? Say the names, date, time, manner. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, there's another thing too. The hospitals, they have this program. This program, what's it called again? Patient navigation, something like that. Patient navigator navigation. Every hospital has one. They walk with you. They talk with you, and they know the system. So use them. Okay? Never sign anything if you're crying, if you're angry. Always read it before you sign anything, And to that blonde lady that said you can't film, and the staff that believe they can't film, we know you have a job. We know privacy matters, but our babies matter more. Okay? You understand? You don't get to decide when we feel safe. We decide. And when we don't feel safe, we'll record. Okay? So just say a prayer, Say a prayer for Helen, She's 18 and she's still young. I'm sorry you had to meet the system on the worst day, I'm sorry your auntie couldn't go live, But let me tell you one thing, you're not alone. We see you, and we are loud for you. We'll make noise, Fight the system, We hear you. And when you get your baby back, and you will, tell her this story, So she never has to sit in a hospital scared. You know what I mean? We have more questions than answers. Yeah, but anyways, I just want to thank you guys. You guys didn't know, if you tell my people they can't film, I'll teach 1,000 aunties the criminal code for free. So don't tell them they can't film, okay? So, we're not scared anymore, We're charged up. We're ready, But I just want to say thank you guys for listening, Spread Helen's story, Learn your photo laws, Canadian charter, you know. It will save you, you know. But Timmy guys get in I love you guys. I'll see you guys again later. Alright? Peace out.